It happened. Elon Musk finally reveals new Starship model. It's no new information that Elon Musk, the multi-billionaire space genius, is always up to something. Fresh ideas and innovations are always in his arsenal, waiting to be revealed to the rest of the world. The forward-thinking SpaceX CEO is already working on the next iteration of the Starship while developing the pinnacle of rocket architecture, the Starship. Before we discuss specifics of Starship 2.0, it's important to understand Musk's Mars plans and the evolution of the original Starship. Elon Musk has a life goal of landing 1 million people on Mars. To that end, SpaceX has done everything in its power to create a spaceship capable of transporting people not only safely, but also sustainably. Starship Serial Number 15, or SN15, conducted SpaceX's 6th high-altitude flight test of a Starship prototype from Starbase in Texas on Wednesday, May 5th. The stainless steel rocket is the largest and most powerful ever built. It is made up of a Super Heavy booster stage and a Starship spacecraft, both of which are propelled by Raptor rocket engines that use liquid oxygen and liquid methane propellant. The ship is 50 meters tall, with 18 meters devoted to the payload. The total payload volume available is 1,100 meters cubed. The payload capacity and full reusability of the Starship are intended to make it both cost-effective and capable of serving multiple mission objectives, such as interplanetary spaceflight, space tourism, and fast flights between Earth's locations. As an outcome, Starship will be used in a number of space projects, including the DearMoon project, NASA's Artemis program, and SpaceX's Mars program. SpaceX's first orbital launch attempt for Starship is currently scheduled for early 2022. SpaceX is developing a Starship to transport people to Mars, but while the current Starship can carry a lot of cargo, it won't significantly reduce travel time. Nobody would want to spend 5 months traveling between Earth and Mars, as Musk understands. This is because of the numerous dangers involved. Astronauts traveling to Mars would be exposed to extremely high levels of radiation, which can cause serious long-term health problems, such as cancer and sterility. Also, the more time spent in transit, the more likely something will go wrong. The spaceship could run out of fuel, for example, or a component could fail. Many people will question the need for a version 2, given the Starship's size and power. But of course, a larger Starship is required. The process of launching a Starship and preparing it to travel to Mars will necessitate the use of 4 Starship tankers to fuel the Starship on its way to the planet. Otherwise, there will not be enough fuel to get there. Now, this refueling necessitates a lot of fiddling with rendezvous, docking, pumping, and undocking. However, a larger Starship 2.0 that can supply all the fuel will greatly simplify things. Musk revealed that the Starship 2.0 is in orders of magnitude larger than the first version. It would have an 18-meter diameter, making it twice the size of the current Starship. The Starship 2.0 is double in height, making it a 240-meter tall hunk of steel that would be 3/4 the height of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. And when you double the height and width of an almost cylindrical object, you've multiplied the surface area and volume by 8, which means that Starship 2.0 has 8 times more capacity to hold fuel and will generate 8 times as much thrust as the original. The Starship 2.0 will carry 800 metric tons of payload into Earth's orbit. For this rocket to be this powerful, it would require approximately 100 powerful Raptors at the current capacity of the rocket engines. In comparison, the largest rocket ever conceived prior to the Starship 2.0 was the Sea Dragon in 1962. When configured for human transport, the Starship 2.0 will be able to carry nearly 1,000 people, significantly reducing the number of trips Musk will have to make to populate Mars with 1 million people. The most important consideration is that the Starship 2.0, at that size, is financially superior to operating multiple Starships. That is, assuming the cost of support operations for Starship 2.0 remains constant as Starship version 1. If we consider the one trip of the Starship 2.0 is equivalent to 8 trips of the current version, we can see that the total launch cost for the Starship 2.0 will be about $7.2 million for fuel and around $1.2 million for support operations. It'll cost a total of $8.4 million. The cost of 8 launches of the current Starship would be $16 million. So for the same payload, Starship 2.0 will essentially halve the costs. However, that is not the end of the savings. Keep in mind that it takes 4 Starships to launch a single Starship to Mars. In the current iteration, replacing those for Starship 1.0 with a single Starship 2.0 is possible and will save a significant amount of money. The cost of production is another factor to consider. True, the number of Raptor engines required by the Starship 2.0 will increase, but you only need to double the amount of steel to build the Starship 2.0 rather than spending money on steel for 8 different versions of one Starship. The same is true for heat shield materials. Welding and ring stacking will also double, though most of the process would have been automated by then, lowering the cost of Raptor engines even further. The Starship 2.0 is pretty much complete, as SpaceX only needs to scale up what it's currently building to meet Musk's specifications. Well, there you go. Would you like to go on a ride on Starship 2.0? I certainly would. Sounds like a whole lot of fun. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and thanks for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one.